الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق وسيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Here we meet again in children's literature, the course that is coming to an end very soon, inshallah, as everything else in real life. I will be with you today in another journey into the novel, where we can cover up to another 2 chapters. And as usual, I would like to remind everyone that I'm mainly interested in the issues relating to the story and the plot rather than in the plot itself. We are going to see how the characteristics of children's literature are applicable to the novel. We're going to talk about feminism, we're going to talk about railways, as we agreed in the last 2 or 3 lectures, how these 3 approaches apply to the novel. This is lecture number 10. The present slide, the one in front of you, was the last one in the last lecture, in lecture number 9. I have highlighted 2 phrases or 2 words that are of real importance to the novel, or to be specific to one aspect of the novel, which is the language of children. When they move into the new house, Roberta, the eldest of the children, wakes her brother and sister up in order to help mother and to save time by dressing her brother and sister to school. But this is the first day for them in the new house and they are very tired. When she wakes Phyllis up, Phyllis is a very interesting character. She's very small, and the writer is very realistic here as she gives us the language or the type of language that a child that is tired can utter in similar conditions or in similar situations. So she says, if you would like to say it in proper English, you will fail, because this is not English. She is saying, what is the matter? But you can say, what is the matter in real life, pleasantly and clearly, and everybody will understand that you are saying what is the matter. And if you're very tired, you say, what is the matter? You know, it's sort of realistic, very similar to the game. And we're not going to deal with the whole slide again, but if you look at basin washing, which means washing in a basin as compared to washing under a pump. Somebody is pumping and the other is washing, like in the desert or in the countryside. You will have a glimpse of how children talk in the novel in ways that are similar to reality, and that is why I have summed this up. What is the matter? And basin washing, and before that, germ of endearment. These are ways in which the writer emphasizes what of the novel, what aspects of the novel is highlighted here or emphasized here. It is, of course, the verisimilitude of the novel. One way of emphasizing the verisimilitude of the novel is to copy child talk as it is, and there will be mention of child talk later. Chapter 2. You will have a summary in the body of this presentation about chapter 2, but as I said, we are not interested in the summary, we're interested in the issues, in the aspects, in the ideas. The family do not get a decent supper, dinner. They don't have something to eat the first time they arrive at the new house, simply because Mrs. Viney, the one hired by mother to prepare it, has not prepared it. The woman has not prepared it for a reason that nobody knows except the narrative voice. So mother is excited and she's sort of angry at Mrs. Viney at not preparing the food and the house. She has given her money so she can do that before they arrive, and the woman has just disappeared. A mother is excited and she talks to her, about her to the children in a way that does not seem very nice, okay? Which is strange about mother, but you will know what is going to happen later. Mother prepares what she can. She opens a can of sardines and tuna, for example, that is pre-made, and they eat and they go to bed. Children go to bed and Ruth combs their hair because mother is tired, and next day and the day after and the week after and the month after, mother will always be absent as she goes to London for work in order to get money and to feel responsible for the whole family. The next morning, the children wake up feeling excited in their new home. They seem to have forgotten all about father who has been arrested. They wake up feeling excited. This is a new experience, and they live next to the railway station. They discover that a nearby field backs onto a railway line, but the railway station is too far to see from where they are. It's very exciting and interesting for them, and it makes their life busy with adventure and with lots of new interesting things which will take them away from the memory of their absent father. When mother discovers that Mrs. Viney has not prepared the food for the moving family, she is also tired, mother, and she and the children are hungry and tired. They want to eat and then sleep. When she discovers that, she has not, she says some strong words about her. This is me, I'm talking, this is my own summary, not the novel itself. There is the house, said mother. I wonder why she shut the shutters, the window. Why has she shut the shutters? She is supposed to open them because they are coming. If she has done any kind of effort into the house, into cleaning the house, she should have not shut the windows. This is what mother says. Remember, she refers to Mrs. Viney as she. Ideally, we expect mother to say Mrs. Viney, not she. In ideal situations, mother would refer to the servant, even the servant, in her name, not as she. But mother is exasperated and angry and beside herself, so she says, who's she? Asked Roberta. The one who understands the remark by mother, the remark that she doesn't mention something about the woman, she just refers to her as she. Only Roberta, because Roberta is older and she understands more. Who's she? The woman I engaged to clean the place and put the furniture straight and get supper. Very clear. To clean the place, ordering the furniture, preparing supper. Okay, mother is really excited, and this shows us how realistic the novel is. The writer is realistic. No mother can be ideal 24 hours. Remember at the start when we said almost always, because no one can be all the time, always serene or tranquil or smiling. You cannot smile, you cannot get awake or stay awake all the time 24 hours. Of course, this is not realistic. Okay, I will continue with Mrs. Viney here, and then I'll come back to the chapter. And under each slide you will have the page number from the book, I mean the PDF. Well, you've often wanted something to happen, and now it has. This is quite an adventure, isn't it? Mother is telling the children, opening their appetite so they can admire and love the new place. You were bored at the villa in which we lived before, and you wanted things to happen, you wanted action and adventure. Now, here you are. She continues, I told Mrs. Viney to get us some bread and butter and meat and things, and to have supper ready. Now, she corrects herself. She is repeating the same piece of information that we had before. The woman I engaged to clean the place, put the furniture straight, and get supper. But she discovers that she has been rough a little bit, and she doesn't want her children to get a bad idea about the woman without even seeing her. The same thing that happens when she corrected the image of Aunt Emma, remember? So she says in a light tone, in a very decent one, I told Mrs. Viney. Now she mentions her name and she repeats herself. Bread and butter, meat and things, supper ready. I suppose she's laid it in the dining room. So let's go and see. So she, I'm sure that she did it, but we don't know where she has put all those things. Let us all get inside and look for the food. You know, this is very important. She is engaging all the children in the process of looking for the food. She's responsible now for the family in the absence of the father. It isn't a pigeon pie, said mother. It's only apple. Well, this is the supper we ought to have had last night. And there was a note from Mrs. Viney. This is page 35. Now, after eating supper, they find the food that Mrs. Viney has prepared. It is in a hidden place. And there is a note from Mrs. Viney. A piece of paper from Mrs. Viney. What happened to Mrs. Viney? Her son-in-law has broken his arm, and she had to get home early. So the woman came really as agreed and tried to get things in order, but something sudden and tragic has taken place, and this is the fact that her son-in-law has broken his arm, and she had to go. She's coming this morning at 10. She's British and she is very specific. She's very punctual about it. She's not going to take money and then disappear. No. So again, this the mother reads the note. Another mother could read the note for herself and not tell the children anything about it. But mother has decided to read it aloud in front of the children so they can have a better idea about that woman. Mother is responsible, mother is polite, mother is civilized, mother is different from all other women at that time. She needs to teach her children proper things, you know. And from now on, Mrs. Viney becomes dear to mother and to children. It was the very next day that mother had to, now later in the novel, I think in chapter 3, mother becomes sick. And she has to stay in bed because her head ached so. Her hands were burning hot and she would not eat anything, and her throat was very sore. Under these conditions, when mother is very sick like that, what happens? It is Mrs. Viney who comes to her rescue. The children are still children. They are small and they cannot deal with the problem of mother's sickness. So very quickly Mrs. Viney becomes a woman of the house, a member of the house. You feel that there is no difference between the servant and the mother, right? And this shows also us that mother is a very wise woman. If I was you, Mom, look at the language in which Mrs. Viney talks. In grammar, this should read, if I were you. But because the writer is trying to give us the real language of servants in the novel, here is a sentence that is not grammatical. She says, if I was you, in a place where she should say, if I were you. Said Mrs. Viney, I should take and send for the doctor. There is a lot of catchy complaints going about just now. My sister's eldest, she took a chill and it went to her inside 2 years ago come Christmas. Look at the language. It is not the proper grammatical, sound, healthy language of a middle-aged woman who speaks proper English, but the language of a servant. And nevertheless, though she talks in this way, mother does not punish her or give her a sad face. She just listens to her. And she's never been the same girl. This is girl, G-I-R-L, girl, again. See, mother listens to her advice. She's asking mother to ask a doctor to come and check her. Then they all looked at each other. Each of the three expressive countenances expressed the same thought. That thought was double and consisted like the bits of information in the child's guide to knowledge of a question and an answer. The first day, if we go back to the summary, we said that the children are now alone, and Roberta wakes them up, and it is time for them to see what they can do with their own life. So they're asking themselves, what is it we're going to do? And they all looked at each other and they thought of one question and one answer. All the children are the same and they are unified in the question and the answer. What is the question that they all ask? Where shall we go? This is Q, that is to say question. A, answer, to the railway. So in the absence of father and in the absence of mother, what is the best thing that will engage the children and make them attached to their new life and to their new house? What is it that will engage their mind? How will they be busy? How will they spend their day in the absence of parents? To the railway. And look at the beautiful way the writer relates things together. The railway and then the railway. To the railway, to the railway. So to the railway they went. So shall we go? They went to the railway. The three sentences connected together, interlinked in this way, which gives the novel a very good, strong structure. So to the railway they went, and as soon as they started for the railway, started walking towards the railway, they saw where the garden had hidden itself. It was right behind the stables, and it had a high wall around. It is true they are going to the trains, and the trains will be very attractive to them. But it is also true, as we said in our introduction, that in children's literature, nature is important. But we gave nature another critical name. The critical name we gave to nature is idyllic. Idyllic, that is to say natural, scenic. These are the key words in this slide: idyllic, railways, adventure, realistic. It's realistic. The children lose all interest in what happened to their father and what ails their mother. What is interesting for them now directly is how to spend their time and how to enjoy themselves. And the railway represents a real adventure to them. And they look at the garden. Of course, this is idyllic. Oh, said Roberta, drawing a long breath. Excitement and suspense. It was like a great, once they see the train, Roberta gives it an image or a metaphor. She says it was like a great dragon tearing by. A dragon. Did you feel it fan us with its hot wings? It's a train. It's a real train. It's not an engine. It's not like Peter's engine. It's not a toy. And nevertheless, seeing an unidyllic world from the point of view of innocence. This is the train that everybody takes from one place to another. But the children do not consider it as a train. They consider it as a dragonfly. Do you understand? A dragon tearing by, like a snake. I suppose a dragon's lair might look very like that tunnel from the outside. And Phyllis has another image. It's rather like a tunnel. One likens it to a dragon, another likens it to a tunnel, one like a dragon and one like a tunnel. But Peter says, Peter is different. Peter is a boy. I never thought we should ever get as near to a train as this. It's the most ripping sport. He's a boy. He wants to achieve himself as the man of the house in the absence of the father. Better than toy engines, isn't it, said Roberta? Isn't this real train better than the engine that you had before? And here you have a very beautiful comment by the narrative voice. She says, I'm tired of calling Roberta by her name. I, as a narrative voice, I keep saying Roberta, Roberta, Roberta. I'm tired of that. I don't see why I should. I don't understand why I should keep referring to her as Roberta. Everyone else called her Bobby. And I don't see why I shouldn't. I suppose I should. I think I should call her Bobby as well, not Roberta. So at the start, she calls her Roberta. And then, little by little, the narrative voice becomes closer and closer to the children, because father is not here and mother is not here. And we have the story told closely and intimately by the narrative voice. And now here, she is to be referred to as Bobby rather than Roberta. So the narrative voice becomes part and parcel of the story, almost like a character. And we take from this that children are children. They have forgotten all about father. And what I said, I put it here again. They view an unidyllic world from the point of view of innocence. They are innocent. They are not corrupted. They are not evil. The narrative voice replaces mother in being very close to the children because mother isn't there. Mother used to be almost always there with the children when things were okay, but things are not okay anymore. And she has to spend some time away from the children. When mother is not there, it is the narrative voice that goes into us and into the children, as appears in this phrase about Roberta's name. Very nice, isn't it? Never before had any of them been at a station, the narrative voice again, except for the purpose of catching trains. This reminds us of the first page of the novel. They never went to the trains except as a means of entertainment, or perhaps waiting for them, and always with grown-ups. Before that, they went to the train with grown-ups. Grown-ups who were not themselves interested in stations. When they went to trains, nobody was interested in stations, even grown-ups, except as places from which they wished to get away because they didn't like trains or railways. But now the children are alone in front of the railways and the trains, and this is an experience they cherish so much. I want you to lend me your ears in this very nice but complicated image, please. Okay, this image is really, really very complicated. Yes, before reading it, what do you see now? Huh? What do you see? This is a dough. D-O-U-G-H. If you dough, that's the word. In the kitchen, you can bake a dough and put it in fire like this. So this is a dough that you bake, okay, here, and then you put it in fire, and then it grows. When it grows like this under fire, you can put your finger, as I have done here, into it. Or in the other picture, I think, yes, the growing dough like this will not be affected at all, will not be changed at all if you insert your fingers into it, because it is growing. It's a dough. And the dough is the children. And the fingers are the arrest of the father. So children are growing, and nothing will stop them. They are growing, 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 and they will have adventures, events, entertainment, their minds, their hearts, their new world. Suppose that something happens like father is taken away. It looks like a finger, but no more. The place of the finger will disappear after a while. You'll no more like it. It will be just like that. Do you understand? Suppose that mother goes away, just another finger. Do you get the image? I have explained it very easily in these two pictures. Have you ever, and look at the narrative voice asking us and asking children readers, have you ever gone into a farmhouse kitchen on a baking day and seen the great rock of dough set by the fire to rise? If you have seen that sight before, and if you were at that time still young enough to be interested in everything you saw, like the children, you remember that you found yourself quite unable to resist the temptation to poke your finger into the soft round of dough that curved inside the pan like a giant mushroom. Every one of us as a child did that, or at least tried to do that, to poke our fingers into the growing. It's growing like this. It's small, and then it enlarges, it becomes small, enlarges, becomes big, and then you put your finger into it thinking that you are going to inflate it or to dispel it. But what happens? It is the same. It grows as in the pictures here, right? And you will remember that your finger made a dent in the dough. There will be a dent, a hole in the dough at the beginning, and that slowly, like when father goes away, they are shocked. I suppose father has forgotten about when he was a child, and they are sad at the start, but then the small hole in their minds and hearts goes away with the real world, with fire. But quite surely the dent disappeared, and the dough looked quite the same as it did before you touched it. They resume life. They begin to have a different life, even a more interesting life. Unless, of course, your hand was extra dirty, in which case, naturally, there will be a little black mark. If it is too tragic, then something really black will continue. Well, it was just like that with the sorrow that children had felt at father's going away. Beautiful image, isn't it? And at mother's being so unhappy. That was at the start. But it's just like the dough, you know. It made a deep impression, a deep hole at the start. But the impression did not last long. It has not continued because they have forgotten it. They have surpassed it. That's page 38. The image of the dough, this is my explanation, is interesting and significant, very important. It shows how the writer is very realistic and specific and creative at the same time. In an indirect way, she has shown us how the children have grown oblivious of the absence of father. Just like a dough that is growing will never be affected if you just insert your finger inside it. It is growing. It will soon come back to its original shape. The life of the children is expanding, growing, enlarging, and nothing will stop that. It is true, they will remember father, but every other month or every other time they will remember father. But basically, they will be interested in their new life. They soon got used to being without father, though they did not forget him. And they got used to not going to school and to seeing very little of mother, who was now almost all day shut up in her upstairs room, writing, writing, writing. Busy writing. In the past, she was almost always there. Now she is writing, writing, writing. She used to come down at tea time and read aloud the stories she has written. They were lovely stories, but this is at the beginning. When she gets busier and busier, she will stop doing this. The rocks and hills and valleys and trees. Look at the word and. The canal and above all the railway were so new and so perfectly pleasing. This is the new life. They will be interested in this idyllic part of the place. That the resemblance of the old life in the villa grew to seem almost like a dream. Their life in the past in the villa, which had almost everything they needed, is now like a dream. Mother had told them more than once that they were quite poor now. Mother keeps telling them, my little kids, we are poor, but they don't believe. They do not want to believe. They don't care, actually. But this did not seem to be anything but a way of speaking. She's just talking, you know. Grown-up people, even mothers, often make remarks that don't seem to mean anything in particular. They don't feel the weight of or the full meaning of being poor just for the sake of saying something seemingly very realistic. Before supper, the children decided to go to the railway station. They have a lot to see, and a large heap of local coal catches Peter's attention. When Peter steals coal from the station yard, he is caught by the station master. Peter tries to steal coal in order to help mother, who seems to be poor, but he is caught by the station master. Peter thinks that taking some coals from the middle of the heap is harmless. The heap is very big, a lot of coal, and he will just take a part of it, and this is harmless, nothing wrong with it. The station master warns them that what they have done is stealing because the coal belongs to the railway station. They don't know that, they're innocent, and mother is not there with them to teach them that this is wrong. It is only then that they realize that what they have done is wrong. As I said, the new life has been affected a great deal by their experience of the railways and of the surrounding places, nature, the garden, the trees, and so on. And then we have had a central image in this lecture about the dough in an indirect way, in a poetic, metaphoric, objective, indirect way. The writer has shown us, not told us, because there is a lot of difference, as I said before, between showing and telling. She just shows you in a picture that this is wrong, and she doesn't tell you this is wrong. You know, this is the difference between a good writer and a bad writer. The children start to take control of their own life with the railways, and they forget all about the problems that they had at the start. In comparison, they seem to be in love with their new life. I hope that you have enjoyed today's lecture, and I will meet you very soon with the last part of chapter 2 and the beginning of chapter 3. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.